Around 7 years ago, I left university, and like many people, I was excited for the prospects of the real world. I'd spent the 3 years playing Mario Kart, doing the odd bit of work here and there, going out 2 or 3 times a week, and I remember being at the graduation ceremony and just thinking, I don't feel like I've really done much the last 3 years, and I've still felt excited, but that I did have a lingering sensation that I'd not made the most of that 3 years. So, I'm fresh out of university after 3 years of possibly studying. And then I do what most people do, I'm excited, I'm ready for that proper job, that real London job, if you're from the UK anyway. I'm ready. But then I find I've got to do my compulsory visit to the hospitality industry for a few months where I'm a pot wash. So, spend a few months pot washing, basically because I need to earn some money. I then decide, actually, I am ready for that job. So, friend through a friend, end up contracting at a global pharmaceutical company for a bit. Filing emails is, I can describe the job as filing emails. So I'm moving emails from the main inbox into different inboxes manually. There's no automation, and I'm making sure everybody gets the right email in the team. So during that job, I was there earning money for the first time, the most I'd ever earned, and it was good. I was doing things that I wanted to do in the evenings and on the weekends, and I was still living at home. So then I'm thinking, is this what the real world's like? But I'm not in a real job, am I? I'm a contractor, so I need to become a full-time employee somewhere, be on their books, so to speak. So finally, after a few months of job searching and a few months in the administrative role, I finally start the graduate position. Woo! It's 2015 and I moved to London to start my job as a solution consultant for a financial technology firm based at London Bridge. Day one, I turn up on the tube. There's a buzz about London. I'm excited. Everything's going great. I get into the office and I'm presented with my laptop. Here you go. There's over 90 pieces of training to complete. I've got to read documentation. You've got to read documentation. You've got to complete these videos before you can go on to your first project. So even then, after all these stages, university, hospitality, a job in a pharmaceutical company, I'm still thinking there's a next step. I've got to wait until I start the project for the real world to begin. So I complete the training, I have a bit of a hiatus period, and then I'm thrown in at the deep end. I'm thrown into my first project. On my first day of the project, I turn up to client site, which is a trains ride away, as that's where I'm going to be staying for a few nights and working. I get into the client site to meet my team and the client's team, and find that behind the scenes I'm actually going to be doing an admin role, whereas to the client I'm a fully fledged solution consultant. So my company at the time could bill me at a high rate to the client. As I say, I'm an admin assistant. I was an admin assistant at the time. Basically, that was my role, even though my title was solution consultant. And I was attending meetings and providing updates on these worksheets and answering questions for the client. When I say answering questions, I mean basically I was receiving emails from their project team and forwarding them on, as I had no real experience. 3 days of this went by, and I clearly recall getting the train home on the Thursday evening and sitting there thinking, I'm supposed to be in an esteemed position now. I'm a solution consultant. But I had a strange feeling that it was very similar to the previous role I just had at the pharmaceutical company. I was doing tasks that it felt like anybody could do, and if I be honest, it didn't feel like I was learning anything, really. I knew how to use software, I'd used it at university. So that individual project actually ended up lasting for 2 years, though I was on other projects around the same time. And after this, that role I had for 3 years, and I had various projects, various trips, which I may explain more on this channel, and I'll go into more details on each of the events. However, I entered another industry eventually, in insurance, and if you can see a common theme here, even though I had the role of a catastrophe analyst, it felt I was just an admin, an administrative monkey, basically. So the purpose of this channel really is for me to document my own experiences in what I consider to be bullshit jobs, and maybe provide some entertainment along the way, and maybe some of my tips and pointers about what I've done. Maybe even some counterintuitive tips to what you'd expect, especially if you've made your mind up to leave the world of bullshit jobs. Finally, the reason I'm using the phrase bullshit jobs is because a few years ago I read a book by David Grieber entitled A Theory of Bullshit Jobs, and I found for the first time it was the first explanation I'd seen in a coherent manner, whatever, explaining why some people dislike their jobs and why a lot of people feel the same way, feel that the modern working world is not really for them, is not really working for them. It feels like sitting in an office feels a bit pointless. Why are we all doing it? And that's the reason for me using the word bullshit jobs. If you've liked my first attempt at creating and editing and recording a video, then like and subscribe. And if you do that, you may just become